What would you do if you were denied entry to something you rightfully owned? Your car, your home, or even your private jet? For Vanessa Harrington, CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, this wasn't just a hypothetical. The moment she stepped onto the tarmac of her own jet, a chilling question stopped her in her tracks. Are you sure you're in the right place, ma'am? What followed was a whirlwind of humiliation, defiance, and a fight for respect at 40,000 feet. This isn't just a story about prejudice. It's about power, resilience, and what it truly means to own the sky. Stay tuned as we unravel this epic tale of high-altitude conflict and redemption that proves no one can clip your wings when you own the jet. It was 6:45 a.m. when Vanessa's driver, Charles, pulled up to the wrought iron gates of the Lexington-Bryport Private Airfield. The sun was still low on the horizon, casting the runway in golden light. The guard at the gate was a burly man, his potbelly pressing against his uniform shirt. A permanent scowl creased into his weathered face. His name tag read Donovan. Seated in the back of the sleek black SUV, Vanessa smoothed out the skirt of her charcoal gray linen suit. She was due in London that evening for a board meeting, then Tokyo in 2 days to finalize an acquisition. At 42, she was used to flying commercial, first class, of course, but after years of intense schedules and misconnections, she had finally purchased her own jet, a brand new Gulfstream G650. When Charles rolled down the window, Donovan leaned over, eyes flicking between the driver and Vanessa in the back seat. "You lost?" Donovan asked, his voice curt. "No, sir," Charles answered politely. "We're here for Miss Harrington's flight. Hangar 7, per her instructions." Donovan's gaze hardened. Vanessa caught the faintest sneer forming at the corner of his mouth. "Hangar 7 is reserved for private owners," he said, his tone adopting that slow, exaggerated clarity used by people who pretend to think you might not understand English. "You sure you're not looking for the commercial terminal or a charter? This is the private side, ma'am." Vanessa bristled. She'd been here before, metaphorically, countless times in boardrooms and conferences around the world, confronted by people who couldn't fathom a black woman occupying a position of power. But she forced a polite smile. "I'm very sure, Mr. Donovan. The plane in Hangar 7 belongs to me. My name is Vanessa Harrington. You should have it on file." The guard gave an unconvincing grunt and retreated into the gatehouse. Vanessa watched through the tinted windows as he fussed with the computer. A moment later, he returned, sliding open the gate. He offered no apology, merely a half-hearted wave. Charles pulled forward. Vanessa exhaled, her mood weighed down by this all-too-common microaggression. It was a small thing, but it nagged at her. She reminded herself that she'd come too far and worked too hard to let the ignorance of a single security guard ruin her day. As they approached Hangar 7, Vanessa's pulse quickened. She had only seen the jet once before, the day she purchased it. Designed with advanced technology, plush interiors, and boasting an extended range that allowed for near-endless business travel, it was a symbol of her success, a symbol that, ironically, she never thought she would covet. Flying in private jets had always seemed the height of vanity, but necessity won out. Big deals required global agility. The hangar door was wide open, revealing the sleek silver and charcoal body of the jet. The tail fin displayed the subtle logo of Harrington Global, a stylized H shaped like an inkwell flourish. Vanessa stepped out of the SUV, shoulders set. She was on a tight schedule, wheels up by 8:40 a.m., a short hop to New York for a refuel, then across the Atlantic to London. Her board was expecting her at 7 p.m. London time. However, outside the jet, she noticed a small cluster of crew members. 2 pilots stood near the air stair while 3 flight attendants hovered behind them. Normally, Vanessa would have found it reassuring to see her staff waiting, but something about their tense posture signaled an undercurrent of trouble. "Miss Harrington, your jet's right there," Charles said gently. "Everything should be ready. I'll leave you to it." Vanessa nodded. "Thanks." Slinging a black designer handbag over her shoulder, she approached the group, wearing a polite, professional smile. The lead pilot, Captain Gerald Miller, was tall, with salt and pepper hair and a prominent jaw. A gold name tag shone on his uniform. Next to him stood co-pilot Elena Vasquez, a younger woman who looked anxious. "Good morning," Vanessa said. I'm Vanessa Harrington. Are we prepared for an 8 a.m. departure? Captain Miller exchanged a glance with the co-pilot. Then, to Vanessa's surprise, he spoke in a clipped, almost dismissive tone. We're awaiting the owner of this aircraft. We were told the occupant was someone named Harrington. Yes, but we had an entirely different passenger manifest. Are you certain you're in the right place? For a moment, Vanessa's hand clenched around the strap of her handbag. She struggled not to let the frustration seep into her voice. I just told you, I'm Vanessa Harrington, the owner. There must be a confusion with the flight manifest. I made the purchase last week, and I've communicated with the staffing agency. He looked unconvinced. One of the flight attendants, a woman in her early 50s with a severe bun, stepped forward. Her name tag read Laura Hathaway. Miss Harrington, I'm sorry, but we need official documentation before we can allow you to board. Our agency said the principal passenger was a Mr. Harrington. We have a strict security protocol. The subtext was clear. You're a black woman, so we're suspicious. Vanessa had encountered this countless times. The presumption that she was not who she claimed to be. She forced composure. That's easy enough to prove, Vanessa said, pulling out her ID and documents. Here's my driver's license, my corporate ID, and a copy of the plane's registration in my name. You can also check with your own headquarters. Laura Hathaway scrutinized the documents, her demeanor icy. Finally, she handed them back without so much as an apology. There might be some confusion, Miss Harrington. Let me speak with the pilot about next steps. Please wait here. The flight attendant turned to speak to Captain Miller in hushed tones, leaving Vanessa to stew in quiet indignation. Co-pilot Elena Vasquez flashed an apologetic look as if to say, I'm sorry for them. But no words were forthcoming. Minutes ticked by. Each second was an extra weight on Vanessa's time-sensitive schedule. At 7:05 a.m., an airport official with a walkie-talkie joined the group, presumably summoned by the crew. Vanessa overheard snippets of conversation. Yes, but she says she's the owner. We need to confirm immediately. Never heard about a Miss Harrington. Always told it was a Mr. Her frustration grew. She glanced at her watch. The first 10 minutes of her arrival had already dissolved into bureaucratic nonsense. The official finally approached, looking embarrassed. Miss Harrington, we apologize. The system wasn't updated with your name. It shows only owner, Harrington in our files. We had an older flight plan. We'll correct it and get you on board soon. Sorry for the inconvenience. It was the only semblance of an apology she would get. Vanessa gave a curt nod, her voice taut. Please expedite. I must depart within the hour. Little did she know, the ordeal was far from over.